In the chaos following Julius Caesar's assassination in 44 BC, the Roman Republic stood on the edge of collapse. Political factions, power-hungry generals, and opportunistic senators vied for control of the fractured state. Amid this turbulence, few paid attention to the young Gaius Octavius, Caesar's nephew and unexpected heir. Born into relative obscurity, Octavius, later known as Augustus, was seen by many as too young, inexperienced, and unprepared to fill the shoes of the mighty Caesar. Yet within this unassuming figure lay the seeds of one of history's most remarkable rises to power. Upon Caesar's death, Rome plunged into uncertainty. Civil war loomed, and few believed that the 19-year-old Octavius could have any significant influence on the future of the Republic. However, Julius Caesar, in his will, named Octavius as his adopted son and heir, bestowing not only wealth, but a legacy that Octavius was determined to claim. Despite his youth, he would not allow Caesar's enemies to tear apart what his great-uncle had built. Octavius's journey to power was not straightforward. Initially dismissed by seasoned politicians like Mark Antony, one of Caesar's closest generals, and faced with fierce opposition from the Senate, the young heir had to tread carefully. Rather than acting impulsively, Octavius began his ascent by securing his position through alliances and strategic partnerships. He adopted the name Gaius Julius Caesar, aligning himself closely with the revered legacy of his uncle. With this symbolic act, Octavius rallied Caesar's loyal supporters, including powerful military commanders, and gained popular support in Rome. At first, he aligned himself with Antony and Lepidus in what became known as the Second Triumvirate, a coalition formed to stabilize Rome and defeat the murderers of Caesar. Together, they hunted down Caesar's assassins, including Brutus and Cassius, culminating in the decisive Battle of Philippi in 42 BC. With Caesar's killers defeated, the triumvirs divided the Roman territories among themselves. Octavius controlled the west, Antony the east, and Lepidus Africa. Yet even as the triumvirate worked together, tensions simmered beneath the surface, particularly between Octavius and Antony. Mark Antony, drawn to the wealth and influence of the East, formed a controversial alliance with Cleopatra, the powerful and charismatic Queen of Egypt. Their union not only scandalized Rome, but provided Octavius with the perfect opportunity to undermine Antony. Portraying Antony as a traitor who had abandoned Roman values for the seduction of a foreign queen, Octavius swayed the Senate and the Roman people against him. The stage was set for one final showdown between the two most powerful men in the Roman world. In 31 BC, at the Battle of Actium, Octavius' forces, led by his brilliant general Agrippa, decisively defeated Antony and Cleopatra's combined army and navy. It was a turning point in Roman history. Antony and Cleopatra fled to Egypt, where, cornered and facing capture, they both committed suicide. With their deaths, Octavius emerged as the undisputed master of the Roman world. No longer would Rome be a republic divided by rival powers. Under Octavius, it would become an empire united under a single ruler. In 27 BC, the Senate granted Octavius the title Augustus, meaning the revered one. This marked the beginning of the Roman Empire and the end of the Roman Republic. Augustus ruled with a careful balance of authority and diplomacy, maintaining the outward appearance of republican governance while holding absolute power behind the scenes. His reign ushered in the Pax Romana, a period of relative peace and stability that would last over 2 centuries. Augustus reformed the military, improved infrastructure, and expanded the empire's borders, securing his legacy as one of Rome's greatest leaders. Yet Augustus's genius was not just in his military and political victories, it was in his ability to maintain power for over 4 decades. Unlike Caesar, who was assassinated by those who feared his growing dominance, Augustus was a master of public relations. He avoided the title of king, positioning himself as the first citizen rather than a dictator, carefully maintaining the illusion that the Senate still held authority. This delicate balancing act allowed him to reign uncontested until his death in AD 14, ensuring the stability of the empire and the continuity of his reforms. Augustus's transformation from a young, unassuming boy to the ruler of the greatest empire the world had ever known is one of history's most extraordinary stories. His strategic brilliance, unrelenting ambition, and ability to adapt to the shifting tides of Roman politics made him not just Caesar's heir, but the architect of a new Roman world. His legacy endured long after his death, as Rome continued to thrive under the emperors who followed in his footsteps.